Hey everybody, welcome back to Sports Frenzy 2.0, the podcast. I'm the maestro, Kevin Crane.
I'm the conquistador, Dave Height.
We are taping here on April the 21st, 2021. This will hit on April the 22nd on Spotify, Anchor, Google, Radio Public, Pocket Casts, and Breaker. And I think the conquistador might have a lot of positive news for the White Sox.
I got some positive and negative.
All right.
So I got to start off with the positive, though. Last week, as we finished taping, flipped on the Sox-Indians game just in time to see Carlos Rodon complete a no-hitter. Pitched a thing of beauty. Perfect game was ruined in the top of the ninth with one out when a slider got in too deep and hit Perez on the foot. And the look on Rodon's face as Perez walked to first was, really, dude? You couldn't move your damn foot out of the way?
Yeah, we watched that. We basically watched it on DVR after we taped last week.
Yeah. Oh, my God. That look was just priceless. So congratulations to Carlos Rodon for pitching the 20th no-hitter in White Sox history.
Which is amazing considering the fact that the Padres just got their first.
Yeah. And the Sox are second only to the Dodgers, who have 26.
Yeah, it's amazing. Amazing.
And I've been fortunate enough to have witnessed 6 of those.
Not in person.
Not in person, but having viewed it on TV
I was gonna say.
or whatever. But just being privy to have witnessed it as it's happened on TV is pretty damn special.
Right. Because the Cubs went ages without having one. And then they had 3 or 4 in a row. So, yeah, it's just, it comes in clusters and clumps.
Yeah. So it's a special thing to witness, though. And the way the defense will step up behind a guy, it's amazing.
Well, I told you, I was shocked when he got the no-hitter. I asked you, I said, what's the big deal? And you were telling me he wasn't even supposed to be in the starting rotation this year.
Yeah, he had to battle out for the 5th starter spot because he's coming off a major arm injury.
And now he came back and he pitched phenomenal here the other night.
Yeah, coming back first start after facing the same Indians lineup, goes through 5 innings, gives up 1 run with 8 strikeouts and 5 walks and 3 hits.
And that's bouncing off the disaster that Giolito threw against the Red Sox on Monday.
Yeah, where he wound up giving up 7 earned runs in 1 inning. And that leads me to the bad of the Sox with the inconsistency that they've had. Starting pitching other than Giolito's debacle has been pretty damn good. It's been what's supposed to be the strength of the bullpen has been killing us with losses late and blown leads. And, Crochet, our wonder arm, his velocity's down and he's been getting knocked around. Bummer, one of our most consistent guys the last couple years, can't find the strike zone, which has led to a lot of walks and some hits and runs scored. So it's inconsistency there is hurting, along with inconsistency at the plate by the hitters.
Yeah, but I think you guys are okay. I mean,
we're sitting at 500 right now.
Rained out today or snowed out, whatever you want to call
Thankfully, the snow out came in because Lance Lynn's on the IL and was missing this start because of a strained muscle in his back. So after Giolito's hiccup Monday, the bullpen was taxed. And thankfully, we didn't have to try and get a spot start in or have a bullpen game.
Right. So now, right now, you guys sit 1 game behind Kansas City.
Yeah.
As of right now when we tape.
Yeah. So we've got another straight-up doubleheader against the Indians coming up next week, I think it is.
Yeah. Yeah. Major League Baseball is going to have a problem with all this. They're, these 7-inning doubleheaders, number one, I don't like. Make them play 9. I'm tired of this wussy crap. Where you got to cut the games down to 7 innings. Oh, no, because it's COVID. Because we can't let these. Then tell you what, tell these pitchers to cut 2/9 off of their salary for the game. See how they feel about that.
If it goes too long, put in the damn pitch clock.
But now the Cubs, I think the White Sox are fine. I think 9-9 right now. They're in good shape. They'll be fine. They'll still end up taking that division by 10 games by the end of the year.
Yeah, we just have to deal with Adam Eaton's 1-game suspension for instigating that bench clearing scuffle with the Indians last week.
Yeah, the Cubs are about where I expected them to be. They're 7-9. Again, scuffling at the back end with the Pirates, which is disgusting to think. Good for the Pirates. I mean, that means the Pirates are actually playing better than I thought they would. But a 189 batting average for the Cubs through 16 games, which is the last.
Ouch.
In Major League Baseball. I think the Yankees are second to last, and they're 208 as we tape this. So,
yeah, it's been weird. There's only one team that's really was expected to excel. That is with the Dodgers.
Yeah.
And then everybody else is just kind of eh.
Yeah. Well, the Oakland A's really. Very interesting to me that where they started off 1-7, and now they're on a 10-game win streak, and they've blasted all the way up to the front.
Well, that's what the Red Sox did in the AL East.
Right. So, and both those teams, does it really surprise you that those teams would do that? Though those teams are good enough where you figured
they were going to be okay.
You saw they were going to have slow starts, but you didn't think they were going to be. You didn't think that the Red Sox were going to be the worst in the East. You didn't think the A's were going to be the worst in the West.
No.
You figured they were going to bounce back. Just all of a sudden, this huge bounce back.
Yeah, that's huge win kind streaks. Of the surprise. So, kind of another, after Rodon's no-hitter there, something else impressive on the pitching front coming out of Milwaukee. Their starter, Burns, as we tape, had gone 40 strikeouts and no walks. That's damn impressive.
Yeah, that's a record.
It's unprecedented.
Yeah, and him and Woodruff. I did not think pitching is a premium. We all
we knew that.
That's a cliche, and I get it. I know it's a cliche, so don't give me a hard time about it. But Woodruff and Burns. Now, all of a sudden, for the Brewers, look like a really formidable 1-2 combination for them.
Early on, yeah. So we'll see if they can maintain some semblance of a pace for the whole year.
Yeah. Now, we were going to talk about this last week. We didn't get to it. The Atlantic League has got a couple rule experiments that they're putting into place that are supposed to enhance not only the offense, but also these are ways to keep starting pitchers in longer. So, number one, they've moved the rubber back 1 foot, which is the first time it's been done since 1893. They've raised the mound, but they've never moved the rubber back.
I kind of like this on two fronts. One, you want to get more offense in the game, so this is going to give the hitters that little bit extra look at the spin on a ball to determine what it's going to be. And two, it gives the pitchers that fraction of a second more to react to that line drive coming back at their head. So I like that move. I think it's fine.
So what do you think about the second one, which is the DH double hook, where you pull the starting pitcher, you pull the DH?
See, if you want to try and keep more offense in, that's counterproductive. It's a stupid-ass move. You can't have it both ways.
But see, the point of this is that they're trying to force managers to keep the starting pitchers in longer, because if you keep the starting pitcher in longer, obviously, you keep the DH in longer.
But if you're keeping the pitcher in longer, he's going to take more and more time between pitches, which is going to lengthen the game.
I don't see that. No. Now, I think I'm not necessarily disagreeing with you on this, but this is a double-edged sword, is that I agree with any rule that's going to keep the starting pitchers in longer because they're a bunch of goddamn babies.
They are.
Everybody Stop throwing 110, 115, 120 pitches.
You have more arm issues now than you ever had before.
Steven Strasburg, perfect example. He is the poster child for this because now he's back on the injured list again. The man has had
shock.
one year, and I know Washington National fans are going to tell me you're an idiot because we got a World Series because he made it through that 1 year.
Yeah, but he was babied through that year.
Well, remember the 2 years before, I think it was, they babied him, and it cost them.
Yeah,
but but then 2 years later we got it because we babied him.
You shouldn't have to baby a pitcher.
I guess the point is, Dave, what price are we putting on a World Series championship? Is it worth $300-400 million for one title?
For one player?
No. To risk your entire organization, to blow your salary cap up for one player. Strasburg was there for that 1 year when they won the World Series. But otherwise, he's been a train wreck. He's been hurt. He's had surgery. He's not Max Scherzer. Max Scherzer's been there every year. Max Scherzer's a workhorse.
Yeah. Well, you got another workhorse, too, down in Houston. Used to be up in Detroit.
Verlander, yeah. Verlander's, again, but now he's been out for a year and a half. But Houston probably, they probably would have still said, we'll make that deal because we got one World Series out of him.
Yeah. And Verlander probably jumped at the chance because he finally got that ring that he never would have gotten in Detroit.
But would you rather have a guy, a Verlander, you got a Strasburg, maybe they overthrow a little bit? Would you rather have somebody like that versus...
Verlander's injury was more of a hiccup because he's been solid.
Yeah, I know. But would you rather have more of a soft tosser, I guess is my question.
A Burley type?
A Hendricks kind of guy, who's going to be around. He's not going to miss starts because of injury. Now he might have bad starts. He might have a bad run. Hendricks has been awful this year, by the way. The Cubs, 7-9 with the 189 batting average, and Hendricks has not helped.
No.
If Hendricks had actually thrown halfway decent, that probably would have flipped, and he'd probably be 9-7, but he's been abysmal. And I am a huge Kyle Hendricks fan, and I'll admit, he's been abysmal so far this year. I mean, Trevor Williams and Arrieta have saved us. Otherwise, we'd be worse than 7-9 with that 189 crappy-ass batting average.
Yeah.
But who do you want? Do you want a guy like that who's not going to blow his arm out versus a guy who might give you 1 year where he's just 22, 23 wins, strikes out 250, but, he's looking at Tommy John somewhere down the road because he's going to blow his arm out.
It's a balancing act, and each pitcher's got to know what his limitations are.
Burley, by the way, was a great reference. That's a perfect example of what I was looking for. Because Burley
maxed out at 90.
Never had to worry about him. He was always going to show up, always going to throw 35 games.
He was going to get you 15 to 18 wins every year.
Right.
He was going to give you 230 plus innings.
Yep. Yeah, Greg Maddux.
And always kept you in the game.
Greg Maddux. Look at Greg Maddux, man. Greg Maddux was Mr. Reliable.
Yeah.
Look at Chris Sale. How the hell could you ever depend on Chris Sale?
Why do you think we got rid of him?
Which ends up being one of the smartest moves in history.
Yeah. Now, that being said, we got the flamethrower and Kopech in that deal. and he's already had Tommy John surgery. But he's come back this year, and
But you weren't relying on him to be your number one.
No,
That's
we weren't.
Giolito.
Yeah.
So, all right, we're going to move on to, believe it or not, real quick here in the first segment.
We never do this.
Soccer! Oh my God, we're going to talk about soccer.
Why?
Because this Super League debacle has just got to be addressed.
This is an epic failure of unbelievable proportions. Never has a cabal fallen so flat on its
12
face.
teams from Europe, 12 teams in the European soccer clubs decided to form a Super League.
No,
I want to say Monday,
the
and then
owners
it fell apart on Wednesday morning.
The owners got together,
right,
without consulting anyone else in their organizations, without floating it through the other soccer governing bodies, without any knowledge of the fans of what was going on. And the uproar.
The fans protested.
The players coming out.
And FIFA was saying, you are not welcome back. I mean, and I don't even know anything about soccer.
It was a money grab by these owners.
It would be like if the Yankees, the Dodgers, the Cubs, and the Mets said, we're going to start our own baseball league, and then we might let another 4 teams in if you play well enough.
Yeah, it's just epic stupidity on the part of these owners, and they got taken to the woodshed for it, kids.
Yeah, because first Chelsea and Man City dropped out, and then 4 other teams dropped out. Now it's a train wreck. It's a blow up fire. It's a nuclear firestorm.
It's these owners have to come crawling back to their fans, begging for forgiveness. There's a lot of ass kissing that has to go on.
And all I'm going to say as we wrap up this first segment, and I'm sure the Conquistador will agree with me, soccer sucks! This is why we don't deal with soccer.
Exactly.
You try to make it better, and it just never works. Because it sucks.
And you don't do it behind closed doors.
Yeah. All right, we'll be right back, kids. What's up, my peeps? Check out Sports Frenzy 2.0, the podcast. Now available on Spotify, Anchor, Google Podcasts, Radio Public, Pocket Casts, and Breaker. I am the maestro, Kevin Crane, and along with the conquistador, Dave Height, we tear down the hypocrisy and stupidity of the modern sports world like nobody else can. We're definitely not politically correct, so if you've got a problem with that, I refer all of you woke lemmings out there to the immortal words of Forrest Gump. Stupid is as stupid does. Hey everybody, welcome back Sports Frenzy 2.0. We're taping here on the 21st of April. This will hit on the 22nd on Anchor, Spotify, Google, Radio Public, Pocket Casts, and Breaker. I am the maestro, Kevin Crane.
I'm the conquistador, Dave Height.
And we've got a little bit of NFL news for you leading up into the draft, which is a week from tomorrow.
Woohoo!
So, yeah, I can't wait to see how the Bears screw this up. Woo!
Oh, my God. You know, that's must-see TV just to see how bad they react on draft day.
Well, we've talked about this for the last month. Are they going to overreact because of the fact that Pace and Nagy are basically on the high wire and they're done after this year if they don't exceed expectations?
So why not just screw the organization over?
Exactly. So that everybody I've seen all these mock drafts, they're being very conservative, and they're saying the Bears will take a cornerback or a wide receiver or a tackle.
We need a tackle so bad.
Yeah, but a lot of them are saying the tackles might not be there.
I know.
At 20. So, but other news in the Bears front. Now, we signed a wide receiver that I actually liked.
You know what? If he can stay healthy, I love the signing.
Yes.
Marquise Goodwin played last year for the Niners. So, a speedster. I like it. He's got good hands, unlike Anthony Miller, who can't hold on to a cold. So I do like that signing. It should be good. So speaking of Miller, Bears still don't know what they're going to do with him. Are they going to re-sign him? Are they going to trade him? Are they going to cut him? Who knows?
The thing I don't like is that Cordarrelle Patterson is now with the Falcons.
God,
You couldn't afford to re-sign him. One of the best kick returners in history.
He was one of your top 5 players on that team. He was loved by the fan base. He was loved by his teammates. The guy could do anything you asked him. Again, the ineptness of that front office.
Yeah. This is another move where you just wonder. Again, I've said I tried to stick by pace for years and years, and over the last year and a half, I've learned that I was just an idiot for trying to stand by him, because moves like this prove to me that he doesn't know what he's doing. There is no way in hell you let him go.
No, there's no way you let any of the guys you had go. I mean, the salary cap management has been abysmal. And you look at the stupid Quinn signing, it's almost like Hayward for the Cubs.
Yeah, exactly. That's great. That's a great comparison.
You put out all that money and time for no production.
Yeah. It's like you took that big swing thinking, all right, if I screw this up, then I look like an idiot. Well, guess what?
You look like an idiot again for what, the 8th time since he arrived?
Well, and I told you, Jim McMahon came out this week. It's sad to say, he's arguably in the Super Bowl era the best quarterback the Bears have ever had.
Yeah.
And he comes out and he says the Packers were the best organization he ever played for.
Well, you look at it, consistency. They always draft well. They manage their salary cap well, year in and year out. How often do you see them cutting people because they have to? They don't. So they know what they're doing up there in their front office.
And how sad is that? When your rival, your quarterback, your best quarterback of the last 50 years says, I'd rather play for your rival
than you. Then you know you have a screwed up organization. Yeah. And it starts at the top.
Speaking of Packers quarterbacks, the Aaron Rodgers run is done on Jeopardy. What's your review, my man?
The first week was absolutely brutal. It was painful to listen to him speak. I mean, it was not good. But I have to give him props. He worked his way into the role, and by the end, he did a really damn good job with it. I have to give him his props there. He took it.
All right. Now, they're going to keep the guest hosting thing going on. So now announced this week was Joe Buck is going to get a 2-week run. Now, I think Joe Buck.
I think
where's Brockmeyer?
We need the Joe Buck from Brockmeyer.
I want Brockmeyer
Hank
hosting
Azaria.
Jeopardy for 2 weeks. That's what I want. Could you see that?
Hank Azaria in his Brockmeyer jacket.
Oh my God, would that be awesome? Would that be the greatest thing ever?
That would have to be on Paramount because you couldn't air that on regular TV.
Oh. But I could see Joe Buck doing a good job.
Joe Buck, I think, could really do a nice job there.
Yeah. So, and I think they're doing the right thing with this whole guest host. Just run this for a year. Just run it for a year. Give all these people the 2-week slots, the 2-week trials. Just run it for a year. You know, bring everybody. With LeVar Burton now has got a petition saying he wants in.
It's official. The fans have spoken.
Okay.
LeVar Burton's getting his 2-week run,
and that's fine.
And
that's
damn
fine.
it, he deserves it.
But let's go for a whole year.
Sure.
Just give
Why not?
all these people, give them different, God, I would love to see Kevin Smith do it. I would love to, could you see Kevin Smith doing it? It'd be awesome.
That would be fun.
Jason Alexander, just some different pop culture
get
icons.
Some off the wall. Yeah. That would be good.
Wrap up the NFL news.
Eddie Murphy needs a shot at it.
He would never do it though.
No,
it's beneath him. It's beneath him.
Yeah, but
Eddie is still. He still thinks he's king shit. Sorry, he does.
Yeah.
Eddie still thinks he's the be all end all, even though, because of Coming to America 2, that they're going to claim that was one of the most streamed movies of the year. I never watched it. I didn't watch Coming to America.
Coming to America was all right. What? We're getting off track here.
All right, if you say so.
Back to the NFL.
All right. Mike Tomlin gets a 3-year contract extension from the Steelers.
So he's been a solid coach for him.
See, I've never been a big fan. Never been a big fan.
It's time to transition away from Big Ben.
I want to see him, Tomlin, be better with a different quarterback.
Yeah.
Bill Cowher won 1 Super Bowl with Big Ben. And we've talked about this. That was kind of a travesty of a Super Bowl with the Seahawks, where really the Seahawks won that game, but the officiating was awful.
That was pretty brutal.
But then we go back to, Tomlin won the one with the Cardinals, which was a legitimate win. That was a shootout with Kurt Warner.
Yeah.
That
was a nice back and forth.
But, God, I mean, does that really make Mike Tomlin a great head coach?
He's solid.
He's great in interviews.
Yeah.
Fun as hell in interviews, but
sometimes he doesn't take enough control of his team.
I don't know where this is going to go 2-3 years from now. I don't know. Yeah. Mason Rudolph is sitting there on the bench. They've never given him a chance. They don't act like they have confidence in him. So what are they going to do for a quarterback after this year? Because you got to believe this is Ben's last year.
I'm surprised they brought him back at all.
Exactly.
Based on how badly he played.
Exactly.
And it wasn't just last year that he played bad. You could see it in the previous couple years that he was sliding.
Right. Right. So that's what they're kind of in that nether region where they've got a vet, almost like Atlanta. People are wondering what Atlanta's going to do with that 4th pick. You got Matt Ryan, but how many years do you have left of Matt Ryan? So do you draft a quarterback at 4 if you're Atlanta, or do you trade back, get more picks, get more help? I think Pittsburgh's in a very similar situation where I don't know what you do when you've got a guy who's good for a year, maybe 2.
But you don't have the heir apparent.
Yeah.
And knowing how many teams are looking at quarterbacks over the next couple years, how many quarterbacks are there legitimate that are in the pipeline?
That's a great question. It seems like every year somebody, 2, 3, 4 guys pop up out of nowhere. We all knew Trevor Lawrence was going to be there this year at number 1.
Right.
That's why Urban Meyer, when he saw that the Jaguars were going to be the number 1 pick, took that job. So I'm going to go ahead. This is the best chance I'm ever going to have to be a pro head coach. Because he's going to have an owner with a number 1 pick with the quarterback who's supposedly
the second coming.
Right. Now, that being said, after that, everybody's saying the Jets are going to take the kid out of BYU. I don't know if he's that good.
Again, that's one of those leagues where they're pass happy. And will it translate?
Justin Fields, is he getting downgraded? I don't know. He looked pretty good to me.
I thought Fields actually stepped up as the year went on in the high-pressure situations.
And I'll tell you who's hurting Justin Fields is Haskins. Because I think what they're looking at is Haskins 2 years ago. Everybody thought, this guy could be good, and he dropped all the way to, 15?
Yeah.
And he was out in 2 years in Washington.
Yeah, because of his work ethic.
But is that his work ethic, or is that Ohio State's
a product
State's
of Ohio State? I think you have to look at it as the individual's work ethic. Because you look at other people coming out of that school that have stepped up at various positions.
I don't know. And then you've got Trey Lance, the kid coming in from the Division 2A school.
Is he Mitch 2.0?
Is he Carson Wentz? Is he Josh Allen? You know, these kids coming in from smaller schools. What are you getting?
Yeah.
This is what scares me about the Bears.
You see?
Are they going to try to jump up again to get one of these guys? Are they going to realize that was fool's gold the first time and let somebody else make that gamble, make that choice?
Yeah. Don't jump up and give away a draft to move up one damn position on such a stretch that it came back to bite you.
And the odds are, honestly, we're looking at 5 guys getting drafted in the first round. Maybe 6. If somebody jumps up like a Trask from Florida.
Yeah.
In the late first round.
Oh, I forgot Trask was sitting down there.
Yeah, but God, you can't take him at 20. It's too much.
You can't.
It's too soon.
No.
I'll tell you what, if the Bears trade up to
it doesn't matter what quarterback the Bears have if they don't have anybody to protect them.
I know. But I'm saying you're going to have 5 quarterbacks taken in the first 10 picks probably.
Yeah, that's where things are lining up.
And I don't want the Bears to try to jump up and get in there.
No, don't try and jump up for a quarterback. Don't try and jump up to
take a cornerback. Do something smart.
Take what you have at 20. You know your needs. You need a tackle. You need a corner.
Take a quarterback in the second round, but don't trade up. I'm done with the trading up crap.
It doesn't work for this regime.
Right. All right, kids, that's it for segment 2. We'll be right back on Sports Frenzy 2.0.
Good evening, kids. This is the conquistador, David Height.
And the maestro, Kevin Crane.
Tune in to Sports Frenzy 2.0 Weekend Edition, exclusively on Spotify and Anchor, as we regale you with news and reviews of films, literature, fine music, and television. Remember what Groucho Marx once said, "I find television very educating. Every time somebody turns on the set, I go into the other room and read a book."
Hey kids, welcome back. Sports Frenzy 2.0, April the 21st, 2021. This will hit on Spotify, Anchor, Google, Radio Public, Pocket Cast, and Breaker on the 22nd. I'm the maestro, Kevin Crane.
I'm the conquistador, Dave Height.
I think we got some hockey.
We do have to give a huge congratulations to Patrick Marleau from the San Jose Sharks. This guy did the unthinkable. He broke Gordie Howe's most games played record. Marleau hit 1,768 games and still counting to surpass Gordie Howe.
Boggles my mind, by the way, and I'm not even a hockey fan. Boggles my mind because when I hear Gordie Howe, I think of a guy playing. How long did he play? Into his 50s?
26 seasons he played. He retired at 51.
Thank you. Okay, because
Marleau's in his late 40s and he's in his 23rd season. So he did it sooner, but also you have more games that are being played today.
Okay. Now, I still think Marleau might be I think Marleau's only 41. He has played 1,768 games. But I think he's only 41, so I think that proves your point that they've played so many more games.
Yeah, but it's a
per
3-season difference
Right.
only, but the age factor
Right.
when Howe came in.
Exactly.
So, yeah, there's a lot going into it. But that's a hell of a feat no matter what.
Now, the Blackhawks, I'm looking at this, and it's getting towards the end here, and I don't think they have a really good chance of making the playoffs.
No, they don't. They're sitting on the outside looking in, and it's because of the defense. It's absolutely horrible. They let the other teams keep the puck cycling down in their defensive zone. The defense can't clear the puck. They give away breakaways consistently. It's just awful. It's a politically incorrect Chinese fire drill down there with the Hawks scrambling and flipping everywhere.
You want.
So
don't feel bad. Curse and swear if you want, Conquistador.
The damn Blackhawks suck ass right now when it comes to defense. It's brutal and painful to watch.
What was it you were going to say earlier? What was that?
The Chinese fire drill where they're scrambling around like chickens with their heads cut off?
No, that was not it. There was something obscene in there.
No, there wasn't. Oh. That's what it was.
As much as I try to drag him into the deep end of the obscene pool with me, he won't do it.
There you go.
They're 21-20-5, 47 points. Total 6th in the Central.
Yeah, they're just...
Of course, with the way they've set things up now, the top 4 teams from all 4 of these newly configured divisions make it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they've got a couple teams to jump, I think, to get there.
And they're not going to do it. They had a chance to try and pick up a game on Nashville, and they just totally wet the bed. They were down. Coming into the third period, they gave up 2 goals in the first 18 seconds of the third period on Monday night prior to us taping.
But now I've heard that if things were set up like 2 years ago, like normal before the COVID disaster hit, they would actually have a shot.
They might slide in, but they wouldn't do anything.
All right.
So,
well, you're being fair. You're being honest as a Blackhawks fan.
They're just brutal right now.
All right, let's move over to NASCAR. Some weird, odd stuff going on this week. Number one, let's recap Richmond, where Alex Bowman wins. He becomes the 8th winner out of 9 races.
Overcoming a pit road penalty at that. And what was it, 10 laps to go, past the dominant Denny Hamlin.
Yeah, and we both had Martin Truex, and if he hadn't had a speeding penalty, I still think he would have won the race.
Yeah.
Finished 5th, but...
respectable, but he took himself out of it.
Right. So Bowman wins, so that's the 8th winner out of 9 races. So some of these guys at the back end have got to be feeling a little bit nervous.
The pressure's on there.
Yeah, because a guy like Michael McDowell is now, I think, 17th in points, but he gets in because he's got that Daytona win.
Yep.
So now you got to start thinking.
But if you get so many winners, the points still come into play.
That's what I'm saying, yeah. So you have got, now it's getting to the point you've got to win a race.
Even if you win a race, you still have to rack up some points too.
Yeah. So it'd be fun to see. It'll be fun to see what happens here. Now, I don't think it's the worst case scenario is going to happen. I figure now
where you
we're
have
going to see
20 different winners in the first 26 races.
You're going to see Hamlin start winning and Harvick start winning. Keselowski start winning, where this is all going to... I don't see 16 plus different winners in a season through 26 races. I just don't see it. So, that being said, we have Talladega.
Oh, the wild card plate. Oh, no longer a plate race.
I know. I catch myself on that all the time.
I know.
I'm glad you
so
said that.
ingrained
I'm glad you said that
on
because you make me
restrictor
feel
plates.
better. Yeah.
That tells you how long we've been watching NASCAR.
Yeah, because I've been saying plate here for the last year, and thank you. Because
no
I felt
more
like an idiot,
plates.
And I was like, I got to stop saying plate.
Yeah, no more restrictor plates on the engines.
It's not restrictor plate anymore, even though it is a super speedway. So,
no, it's Russian roulette with the draft on when the big one is going to hit.
Right.
Not if, when.
So we have got right now 4 guys taking Blaney. Oh no, 3. I'm sorry.
3 Blaneys.
We've got you, the Conquistador. We got Nick, the Juggler, and we've got Aaron, the Big Easy, taking it.
Yep.
I'm taking Logano. So is the Big Blue W.
Again, you guys are matching up.
Yeah, I know. Now, you'll notice you can't see this on my sheet. Yeah, Dog decided to change his pick. Now, I am very lenient in how I let people make their picks. Doug sent me his initial pick was Eric Almirola.
Not horrible on a
plate. 10 minutes later, he comes back and says, nope. I want Chase Elliott. So now we've got I'll let it slide.
It's fine.
This was a day ahead of time.
It's not like the deadline had passed.
Right. So he and the Elder Statesman will both take Chase Elliott, and Mrs. C is going to take William Byron. All good picks.
All drivers run very well on the super speedways.
Yeah. And I was going back and forth between Logano and Blaney. So again, it's Talladega. So
it like we said,
they're all going to wreck out. They're all going to wreck out at some point, aren't they?
You would think.
Interesting news here for the IndyCar circuit. The Indy 500 today announced they're going to allow down at the Speedway 135,000 fans.
Good for them.
Which will be the largest sports crowd to date.
Yep, and it's, 40% capacity they were going with?
Well, whatever 135,000 is, yeah, that's...
Considering it's the largest sports venue.
Right. But, yeah, and I'm just sick of being up here in northern Indiana because we're suffering. We talked about this last week because of Michigan. The good thing is down there in Indy, they're far enough away from all this crap that's going on up in Michigan where they can do this.
Yeah. And,
we can't open up like they can.
It's sad but true.
Yeah. And now the other thing that's sad but true, and I know I said last week, and the Conquistador gave me crap about it, and I said I did not know if Jennifer Jo Cobb really was somebody I'd want racing at Talladega. And now NASCAR came out this week and said they've denied her entry.
Very interesting on NASCAR's point, because so many drivers in the past have made their debut races at Talladega and Daytona on the big super speedways. So I'm interested to hear more of the story on what's going on here.
Yeah, and now I will actually backtrack on what I said, in that I still think I was right, but I want to hear more about why they denied her.
Yeah. They don't deny
right.
drivers.
Yeah. They're trying to get every person they can to fill the field. They're barely filling the fields as it is right now.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden they go, well, she can't race. Why?
Why? Give us a legitimate reason.
That being said, I still think it would have been a train wreck. Sorry, but I do.
It's a train, like I said last week, it's a train wreck with Kyle Busch out there on a super speedway.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, let's face it, some of these guys who race regularly and have experience on the tracks still don't know how to run Talladega.
Agreed. Agreed. All right. Time. We don't have any moments of silence this week. Unfortunately, we have not. And that's a good thing. We have not been able to find anybody to honor
Nope.
or mourn for the moments of silence. So we have to move on to the dumbasses of the week.
The absolute morons of the sports world.
Who you got, Dave?
I am starting off with Aldon Smith. This guy continues to ruin his life. You would have thought after 4 years of being out of the NFL because of his conduct on and off the field, for trouble with the law, performance enhancements, you'd have thought he would have learned his lesson and taken another opportunity after the Seahawks signed him after Dallas didn't. No, he goes out and gets in a confrontation and chokes his victim out. Another felony for this idiot. He finally turned himself in. So this guy's just bad news, and it shows the stupidity of the NFL teams who continually give these guys chance after chance after chance. And shame on the dumbass Seahawks for signing him before all this broke.
Agreed. Completely agreed. And the Cowboys, 2 years ago, I think was the last team that gave him a chance.
Yeah.
I completely agree. Aldon Smith is a poster child for why people should hate sports. Anybody that we love sports, we'll put up with this crap. But anybody who's on the fence, anybody who's kind of wondering if it's worth it to watch sports, Aldon Smith is the reason why you shouldn't.
Exactly. I mean, here's a guy who's had everything lined up for him, and he continues to be a criminal.
Yeah. Millions of dollars, chance after chance after chance. I'm just going to screw it up time and time again.
Oh, but he's got talent, so we got to give him a try.
Yeah.
No, you got to know when to cut bait.
Yeah. Sorry. No sympathy for him. I am going to call out every single freaking sports network in the world. How about that for a dumbass? How about that for a global,
that's epic,
all-encompassing dumbass of the week? ESPN, NFL Network, all of them. I know there was problems in Minnesota. I know we had issues socially with the police. ESPN, NFL Network, your job is not to talk about social law enforcement issues. When I turn on ESPN in the morning on my computer, I want to see scores. I want to see who's gotten cut, who's gotten re-signed. I don't need to see the verdict in a Minnesota trial concerning police violence. You don't have the right to do that to me. You don't. You prove to me, in NFL Network, same way. I turned on Good Morning Football this morning, trying to get away from all this crap, trying to get away from the negativity. And the first thing I hear is, well, there's some things bigger than sports, so we're going to talk about that. And then I'll turn on CNN. Then I'll turn on Fox News. Then I'll turn on my local news. You don't have the right to inject this into my life when I am trying to get away from it. Shame on you. Shame on NFL Network. Shame on ESPN. Shame on all of you for not giving me any sort of relief, any sort of outlet to get away from this. I know what happened. I'm educated. I know what's going on in the world. And if I want to get more in depth with it, I'll go to CNN. I'll go to MSNBC. I'll go to Fox News. I don't want to go to the NFL Network and be told, well, we're not going to talk about the NFL right now. We're going to talk about political crap in Minnesota. Shame on you. You disgust me for doing this to me. I deserve an outlet. We all deserve an outlet. Some of us don't want to hear this crap 24/7. And you don't get the right to shove it in our faces, especially when you parade around as a sports network, supposedly giving us an outlet to get away from it. I think I'm done.
You sure?
I think I am.
Okay.
For the Conquistador Dave Height.
For the Maestro Kevin Crane.
Check out our weekend edition where we're going to do some movie reviews, do some fun stuff. Maybe I won't yell as much.
Oh, sorry.
But we got great stuff coming up this week. A lot of movie reviews, a lot of music reviews, some good stuff. So be sure to check it out every Saturday morning, Spotify and Anchor. You know, I promise I will try not to yell as much, but
there's no guarantees, kids. It's like death and taxes. It's a certainty.
But again, we're trying to get you away from this crap. That's why we yell and scream, is because we're telling these people we want fun. We want entertainment.
Yes. Yes, we do.
All right.
We need the outlet. Sports is entertainment. Sports gets us away from the crap and the negativity in the world.
That's right. All right, kids. We'll talk to you next week. Take care.